What you really are about is making your world, which means your now, which means your moment, which means your emotion, right here and now, as good as you can make it. In other words, that's what deliberate creation is being present in the moment. And you know what being present in the moment means? Not just showing up, we're glad you did. But not just showing up, we're glad you did. Not just showing up, we're really glad you did. Not just showing up, but showing up with all that you are. Showing up as the clear-minded, source energy, loving, appreciative, flowing being that you are. Because you are so much more than these physical bodies. So much more than these physical bodies. You are consciousness that has the opportunity, the glorious opportunity of focusing in this leading edge time-space reality through this personality that you know as you, in conjunctions with other personalities, but even with all of the personalities on the planet flowing together. If they were all in this room, and many of them are, there are thousands of you out there, we're glad you're here too. As you are here, focused in this time-space reality here and now, it's the larger part of you that is doing the majority of the focusing. This is the thing that we want to really present in a way that you can really feel it. We want you to feel the perfection of the planet, the perfection of even the fact that this stuff holds together. It holds together pretty good. It holds together pretty good. We want to tell you why it is. It's focused into this consistent pattern of what you call physical manifested reality. It's consciousness that is concentrated long enough, generation after generation, eon after eon, non-physical energy after non-physical energy, that this feels real because it is. This is the leading edge. And we want to convince you, we get louder as we try that, we want to convince you that the reason that this time-space reality has the consistency that it does, unlike your dream state. Esther was all over the planet last night visiting with all kinds of different people. It was a really interesting night, but it wasn't like this. Your dream state isn't like this because your dream state is not manifested to the degree that this is. So when we say you create your own reality, we're talking about you. Yes, we are. We're talking about the things you're thinking right here and now. We're talking about the things that you speak of with your lovers and with your friends. We're talking about the things you do. We're talking about the focus of you. But we're also talking, we're really talking, we're really talking about the non-physical part of you who has been thinking long before this physical brain of you was thinking, that is holding all of this together. And what you are about here and now is finding new things to think about to merge with what has already come to be known from non-physical. Are you feeling that? In other words, non-physical knows the power of love and the power of appreciation and never ever deviates from it. You do it all the time. You deviate from it all the time, but it doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It means you're out there on the leading edge, on the raw and ragged edge, on the raw and bleeding edge. So here you are out here on this leading, bleeding edge, and in this experience of contrast, you are arriving at new things that you would like to consider, but you never consider anything that we all don't just rush in around and revel in the newness of what you have discovered. And as we revel in the newness of what you've discovered, the evolution of all of us moves forward, and as you know, you can come with us or not, we just went. So your work here is to discover new things to present as the leading edge, and then to hopefully, and we mean that in the nicest way, to hopefully keep up with what you have decided is the new, at least for you, leading edge conversation. And that's why we joyfully come to play with you, because here you articulate your new leading edge inquiry. Here you articulate what's on your mind. And we want to impart to you in such a powerful way that you will always know it, that whatever is on your mind matters very much, because you are out here sifting and sorting on this leading edge, and we are happy to play with you. Sometimes you sort it out, you point it out, you ask for it, and we go right there and wait for you to catch up with your own desire. Such an interesting thing. You pick it. We love it. We go there. We revel in it. We live it. We be it. We are it. And you don't come. Because you're so busy justifying why you're not going there. It's hard. It hurts. I don't like it. Somebody should call somebody. You've been listening to us for a while, and you get it, that your emotions are your indicator of how blended you are with that source energy or not. But still, it's easy to let your emotions run away with you. And we want to say that it's not your emotions that are running away with you. It's the specifics of the unwanted. You're supposed to be happy. You're supposed to feel fun. You are supposed to know your power and your wisdom, you see. We're eager to talk to you about anything you want to talk about. We know you have stuff.
How strong should I focus on accountability?
Accountable to?
I'm always stressing to people or myself that you have to be accountable for everything you say and everything you do. So should I not focus on that so much?
Well, we're going to give you a different slant on this, and we'll answer your question completely. Turns out, everything you're offering vibrationally is at the basis of all your attraction. So you could not be more accountable because you can't get separate from what you're vibrating. In other words, one day, Esther was walking back through the kitchen to her sleeping room and had left her microphone on. And she was chatting with Karen, and everyone in the room was hearing the conversation, or everyone who was listening. And Tracy, who is watching the live stream back in Texas, called Esther's phone and said, "Mom, your phone's on." And Esther pondered what she'd been saying, what she'd been thinking. She was very high and happy. She wasn't worried about it. But then Tracy said, "You know, maybe we should always pretend like our microphone is on." And we say, it always is. But monitoring your verbal output isn't enough, because you're radiating your output constantly, and the universe is responding. And that's what we call accountable. In other words, you just can't not do that. Now, we know what you're talking about in a slightly different context. You're saying, if you say you're going to do something, do it. And if you make a commitment to be on time, then be on time and be accountable. But we would like to put a law-based conceptual slant on this by saying to you, if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would be accountable to one thing and one thing only, and that would be our alignment with our source. We would not be trying to please that one or that one or that one or that one, even if it's an employer that is threatening with some sort of power of termination. Because in the long run, if you are always true to who you are, which means you're always choosing the uplifting thought, you're always reaching for the feeling of alignment, that is a form of accountability that will serve you so well that any other form of accountability is irrelevant. And why is that so? Because all through life, you've been saying, don't like that better, don't like that better. The moment someone was rude to you, you put something very opposite of that in your vortex. When someone didn't believe in you, you put something very opposite of that in your vortex. When someone was mean to somebody else, you put something very different than that in your vortex. In other words, you have created a version of life that the source within you is resonating with and holding in vibrational resonance. You can count on that accountability. You can count on the source within you never deviating from that. Now we've laid the basis. What specifics do you want to talk about? Let's talk about it specifically, and we'll weave it into all of that.
How we talk to each other, like me and my relationship. When you're trying to have a conversation or get to the bottom of something, where you're not attacking or blaming. So you got to be, I guess, responsible for what you're talking about.
But here's the thing that's tricky about that, and we're just going to give this to you in the nicest possible way. Never try to get to the bottom of it. The more you focus on it, the more you activate it. The more you activate it, the more specific it gets. The more specific it gets, the worse it feels. The worse it feels, the more you are doing the opposite of the accountable to who you are thing that we're talking about. Never try to get to the bottom of things that don't feel good. There's no bottom. There is no bottom. There's no bottom. It's a bottomless pit. There's no bottom. There's no bottom. It will just get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. There's no bottom.
Then what do I do to move on from whatever the disagreement is?
Look at the shiny object. Anything that you can do to distract yourself. You see, because here's how it works. Law of attraction says that whatever you're focused upon, more like it will come. And so let's say you're focused upon something you didn't like that another did, or you're focused upon the fact that the others focused upon something that you did that they didn't like. And it doesn't matter which it is. As you're focusing upon this unwanted thing, it's going to get bigger. What saves you is you have to go to sleep sometime. And when you go to sleep, it stops the evil trend. So the more you focus, the more specific it gets. So you've heard us talking, if you've been listening to us for a while, about this emotional scale where feeling really bad is at one end and feeling really good is at the other. And we defined several emotions, and of course there are many more than that, than even the ones that we defined. But we would like to take that emotional scale and put it into a simpler context and say there is specifically negative, which feels really, really bad. And then there's generally negative, which doesn't feel so bad. And then there's generally positive, which doesn't feel so good, but it feels better than so bad. And then there's specifically positive that feels really, really good. Many people, when they are burrowing in, trying to get the bottom of this thing that they really, really don't want, what's happening is you're contributing all kinds of things that you really, really do want to your vortex. When you really, really, really don't want something, there's something that you really, really, really do want that's lighting up over here for you in this place that you currently don't have access to. And there is this bogus thought that many humans have that if I just push hard enough at this thing I don't want, that I will somehow then end up over here to the solution. In other words, if I can just hammer at the problem long enough, the solution will reveal itself to me and we'll have this wonderful outcome. Well, it just doesn't work that way. But this is the way that it does work. If you can get less specific and less specific and less specific, then the vortex will call you closer and closer and closer to the solution that you really want. If you can get generally negative, it's very easy to get generally positive. And from generally positive, it's very easy to get specifically positive. So just think in terms of not wanting to get to the bottom of it, because that gets you more specific and holds you away from the solution that you want longer. So most people, when they're speaking of accountability, they're saying to another, your behavior, and more important, my attention to your behavior, has taken me out of the vortex into a horrible feeling place. And you need to do something different so that I can feel better. Esther said that to Jerry for a few days after he made his transition. She was so mad at him. She was just so mad at him because he was missing. And she just thought that was ridiculous. She just couldn't come to terms with it. And then after a few days of realizing that, what was she really asking him to do? Undo that? Really? We're going to reverse that? And so she realized there must be another way. There must be another way. And we want you all to know that there is always another way, and it's an easy way. It's finally not making somebody else accountable for how you feel. Isn't that the ultimate? Damn it, Jerry, you're dead and I feel bad. Do something about it. Become undead. Well, of course, there is no dead. There is no ending to all that. But it took her a while to remember that and to find it again, you see. And when you think about so many things that happen in relationships where you really are wanting to hold another person accountable for how you feel, you're holding the whole world accountable. The government is ridiculous in the way they behave, and therefore I feel bad. Or the economy is not where I need it to be, and therefore I feel bad. Giving up your power, giving up your power, giving up your power while you're trying to hold someone else accountable. You see, Every single time. So when you stop doing that, you're free. You're really free to soar and feel good in the way that is natural for you to do, you see. You're free. You're free to feel good.